Hi everyone, my name is Melinda Melo and I have decided to write a memoir about my life. I want to take a minute and just tell you about my journey toward authenticity, my journey toward owning my story confidently. For me, I feel like that started with postpartum depression. I had a great marriage and I had two little girls that were born 12 months apart, and life kind of exploded for me. My childhood trauma had just sprouted up in my life and really just devoured me. I was having flashbacks and nightmares and reliving childhood trauma, whether I liked it or not. And I knew that I needed help. The doctor told me I had postpartum depression, but I knew that it was something much deeper. I took the medication that he offered, which numbed the pain, but it didn't take away the memories. I knew that I needed to dig deeper. I decided to order my child welfare file, and I dug deep into that. I didn't want to. I was very scared to relive my childhood and to read these stacks of notes of what all of these professionals were reporting. The first line says, "I urge you to seek support from people you can trust," and I really believe that was supposed to be the agency. I believe it was supposed to be my mom, who was extremely mentally ill, living in a neighborhood of poverty and crime, and had 9 children she was unable to care for. There were failings in my life by so many people, which led me to be neglected and unsupervised and just searching my whole life for love and belonging. And I felt powerless in my life. I felt hopeless. I felt like I wasn't lovable, like I didn't belong, that I wasn't worthy. All of these feelings that had been planted in my life as a child really grew with me as I got older. Another line in the file says, "This is a family which is functioning on the margins of what is acceptable in terms of child welfare and child safety." Our living conditions were absolutely horrendous. And our family was in deep trouble. I remember being 3 years old and being walked into the child welfare system and having my mom look me in the eyes and say, "Don't follow me out of here." And that was the second time I was in foster care, that time for a whole year. When I was 5 years old, alone in the park, far from home, looking at families and how they interacted, and just thinking, like, I wish I had a father. I wish I had somebody looking for me. I wish that I belonged like those children. I remember being 8 years old, homeless in a motel room, and having my mom make a phone call that I didn't know about. She made a phone call to people I barely knew at the time and asked them to come and take me. And I was forcefully put into a car against my will, kicking, screaming, begging for my mom, and driving away from her, looking out at the back of the window. And I never lived with her again. At 15 years old, I ran away from that home and I had nobody looking for me. My whole life, I had this desire to belong, not to fit in. I didn't want to change who I was. I wanted to belong. And when I was 19 years old, after being in many abusive relationships and living this cycle trauma, I decided that I need help, and knew that because I was alone and only had myself, that if I needed help, I was going to do it alone. I joined a recovery program that really set me on a good path mentally, and gave me hope to start again. And that's kickstarted my journey toward healing, toward finding love, to learning how to be loved, to allow myself to be loved, and how to love other people properly, how to trust again. And I'm just thankful that you're here. I'm thankful for you listening to my story. I hope you know that you are born worthy, that you are lovable, that you are capable of doing hard things. And I hope that you join me moving forward. I hope you listen to my story and that you are impacted the same way that I was as I read it. This book was the catalyst towards my healing, and I really feel passionately about sharing my story with you and with the world, and I hope to accomplish that. Thanks for listening.